Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our Tuesday morning assembly. Now, yesterday, both myself and Mrs. Whitmore shared some stories, and that started our National Storytelling Week. So this morning, we're going to learn a little bit more about what National Storytelling Week is all about. We're going to have a look at some of our favourite stories, and then to finish, we've got a competition for you all to have a go at. So let's see what National Storytelling Week is all about. So National Storytelling Week started on the 30th of January and it's running up until the 6th of February. And it's celebrated across schools, museums, theatres and hospitals. Now, we already know about some of the work that goes on in the hospital and that the children need access to different books and things. And we've been able to raise money for this during our readathons. Now, if you've been to a museum or a theatre, you've probably listened to lots and lots of different stories. I know that when we took some children to Gladstone Museum, we had a professional storyteller who was telling us all about the museum. So stories are everywhere. So why are stories so important and why is storytelling so important? So stories can make us happy. We can listen to happy stories, stories that make us laugh, stories that make us smile. And they can also make us feel closer to each other because we can talk about things that we've done together. We can be remembering special events or special times. And storytelling helps us to understand things that are happening around us. So quite often you will hear stories that come from the past, maybe stories about the war, and most recently stories about COVID. I bet we've all got different stories that we could tell about our time that we've been spent at home, how school has been different, and I'm sure that people will look back in the future and they will talk about when we were all dealing with COVID and the different things that happened. So stories are really, really important and they help us to remember special events. And also stories can teach us lessons. So quite often there's a moral in the story. Now, I posted on Dojo to see what some of your favourite stories were. And here I'm just going to share some of the favourite stories in EYFS and Key Stage 1. Now, I wasn't surprised when I saw quite a few children said that they loved stories by Julia Donaldson. I have to agree with that. She is one of my favourite authors. I love her stories. And here some of the favourites we've got is Harvey's favourite story is Zog. And we've got Bobby's favourite story. He likes to read Room on the Broom. And Bobby also likes Charlie Cook's favourite book. So all of those are written by Julia Donaldson. Now in year 1, Zachary likes stories that are written by Tom Fletcher. Okay, and he likes to write stories about dinosaurs, witches and dragons. And Zachary likes to have a go at reading some of those stories as well. Avery likes stories about dinosaurs, and his favourite dinosaur story that he has at bedtime is called Gigantosaurus. Isla likes to listen to the Owl Babies, and I know that lots of children in EYFS love the Owl Babies story, and the nursery children have been reading that as part of their class text, and I know that they've absolutely loved reading about Sarah, Percy and Bill. Tommy Jack's favourite story is The Very Hungry Caterpillar, and he likes to have that story before bed. In nursery, Daniel likes to read Little Red Riding Hood, and that is a traditional tale. We're going to be having a little look at traditional tales a little later on. And then Finley likes to read Before You Sleep, and he likes to look at the images, the illustrations in that story, and that's one that they share before bedtime. So we've got lots and lots of different stories that we like to read. I wonder what stories Key Stage 2 will say that are their favourites. So you don't have to be a good reader to be an excellent storyteller. Everybody is a storyteller because we tell stories every single day and we share our experiences about what's happened. You might get home and you might tell your grown-ups what you've been doing at school or what you've been doing at home. You might tell stories about special events or special times that you might have had with your family. You might be talking about a trip to the seaside or a trip to a theme park, or you could be telling a story about something funny that happened on your trip to the shop. Telling stories is fun. You can dress up, you can have different props to bring your stories to life, and you can act out your stories. And not all stories are written down. So earlier I was talking about going to Gladstone Pottery Museum and there being a professional storyteller there. Now, he didn't have a story in front of him. He wasn't reading off a piece of paper. He was bringing the story to life through what he was wearing and through how he was telling the story. He made it feel like it was real. And that means he was using his imagination to bring the story to life. And stories have been told for thousands and thousands of years. So before books were even written, people would be telling stories to each other. So stories that were told a very long time ago, we could call them myths, legends and fairy tales, because some stories have been around for thousands of years and they pass down from generation to generation. One really popular myth that I'm sure you will all have heard of is Robin Hood, and that story is over 800 years old. And now we don't know if this is a true story or not, but it's been passed down from generation to generation. It's been put into books, it's been put into films. It's very, very old. So I wonder if you could think of any more popular myths and legends that you might have heard of. There are some popular myths and legends that are around our country, but there are also myths and legends from other countries. So places such as Greece are quite famous for having lots of different myths and legends. So as stories get passed on, they may be altered slightly. So now I've got some books and they are all based on traditional tales. Now traditional tales are very old stories. So things such as Little Red Riding Hood and the Three Little Pigs and the Gingerbread Man have been around for many, many years, and I'm sure that lots and lots of your grown-ups would have listened to these stories when they were younger. Now, as the years go on, sometimes they can be altered quite slightly to change some of the stories. So this morning I have got some stories for you to have a look at, and I want you to think about which traditional tale they could be, because they're all based on a traditional tale, but there's something that's a little bit different in all of them. So let's take a look. Okay, so the first book that I've got is called Jack and the Baked Beanstalk. Now, I think from looking at the picture and also from looking at the title, you should be able to guess quite easily which traditional tale this one is. So this one is all based on Jack and the Beanstalk, okay, but it's been changed slightly for baked beans, okay, instead of seeds that you might plant in the ground. So we've got our beanstalk and we can see that it's set in a city through all of the really tall buildings. But we know that Jack and the Beanstalk, it happened on a farm, didn't it? And Jack's mum sent Jack out to go and sell the cow, but Jack came home with the beans. But in this story, Mum doesn't live on a farm. Mum has her own fast food van. Okay, so we can see that some of the characters are the same, but the story is changed ever so slightly, and we can see here that the old man is given a tin of baked beans. Okay, so it's got a little bit of a twist. Let's have a look at another one. I'm sure you will know this one again from the front cover. So this one, if I cover up the title, what story would we think this is? So we've got Three Little Pigs, we've got the Big Bad Wolf, but if we have a look at the title, it's actually called The Big Sad Wolf and the Mean Little Pigs. So that one is completely different. That one has got the roles that are reversed. And in this story, it's told by this little bookworm here, and you can see that he likes to eat books because he's taken out a corner of the page. And in this story, where we are used to the Big Bad Wolf huffing and puffing and trying to blow down the houses, in this story it's telling us that the Big Bad Wolf had actually got a cold and he didn't mean to blow down the houses. He was just feeling unwell and the pigs wouldn't let him in. Okay, so another really popular story, but it's just got a little bit of a twist on it. Okay, let's have a look at one more. Again, from the front cover, I'm sure you'll be able to recognise this story. So we've got on the front the Gingerbread Man, but this one, it's got all of the same characters in. We've got the animals, we've got the gingerbread man, we've got the little old lady and the little old man, and we've got the cottage. But the twist on this story is that the animals are too unfit to keep up with him. So the gingerbread man runs away because he likes to do his exercise, but the animals are too unfit. So he teaches about the importance of keeping fit. So again, a very famous story, but just with a little twist. I wonder if you've got any traditional tales at home. And if you have, maybe you could have a look and see, are they the same or do they have some little differences that are different from the original story? Okay, so let me just share this with you again. So now it's time for our competition. And our competition is called Telling Stories is as Easy as 1, 2, 3. Now what you need to do is you'll see that each column has got a number. So we've got column 1, column 2 and column 3. Okay, so the first column is all about the setting, where a story takes place. So from the stories I've just shown you, we've got stories that take place in the city and stories that take place in the countryside. So here the settings we've got are, we've got a cave, we've got a forest, a castle, under the sea, in the clouds or on a desert island. So you need to choose one of those settings and that's where your story will take place. The next column has got the number 2. So we've done our 1 and now we're moving to 2. You can choose 2 items that can feature in your story. So you can choose either a spaceship, a magic wand, a treasure chest, a key, a torch, or a treasure map. So again, looking at the top, you can choose 2 of those items to be in your story. And then our last column is column number 3, and we need to choose 3 of these. So in our story, we can have 3 characters. So we've got a witch, a wizard, an alien, a pirate, a dragon, or a monster. Okay, so we need to choose 1, 2 and 3, and then that's where we're going to use our imagination to try and develop our own story to be a super storyteller. So all of your stories need to be sent in to your class teacher via Dojo. If you can do a video, that would be fantastic. So if you are in EYFS, reception or nursery, and you would like to have a go at this, you can just record your video. So you might want to practice it a few times and then send it over to your teacher. If you are in Key Stage 1 or Key Stage 2, we would like you to have a go at writing your own story and then have a go at recording your video and bring your story to life. Maybe you'll want to dress up as one of the characters. Maybe you'll want to make some props to help you with your storytelling. Okay, so use your imagination and be imaginative and develop your own story. So your stories need to be in by Monday, the 8th of February at 12 o'clock. And then winners will be announced on Friday, the 12th of February. So there will be a winner from EYFS and Key Stage 1, and there will also be a winner from Key Stage 2. So you will each get a £10 voucher if your story is chosen. Okay, so me and Mrs. Whitmore cannot wait to see all of your stories. I'm sure they are going to be absolutely fantastic. Okay, so make sure you're using your imagination ready for Storytelling Week. Okay, enjoy the rest of your week, children. Bye, everybody.